The Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame welcomes you to the enshrinement of the class of 2022. And now, please welcome the chairman of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame, Vincent Cimini.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2022 enshrinement celebration of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. So happy that we're all here together in person again after 3 years. Before we begin our ceremonies, I would ask you to please stand and welcome Warwick native and the powerful singing voice of the Boston Bruins, Mr. Todd Angeli, to open our festivities with his always rousing rendition of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, who were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Isn't it great? Thank you, Todd. On behalf of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame, it is my great privilege to extend sincerest congratulations to our honorees this evening. Our 2022 class represents the very best of our state's rich and illustrious 124-year hockey history. We're also pleased to recognize a number of Hall of Famers and honorees who have joined us this evening. Joe Kavanaugh, Pete Demers, all the way from Los Angeles. Bob Goodrow, all the way from Cranston. As well as the family members of the Bennetts, the Topazzinis, the Dooleys, and the Belisles, and the Lamorello family. Nice to be. Since we were last together in person in 2019, the Hall of Fame has remained very active with its mission, including uncovering and chronicling more of the fascinating stories and the stories within the stories at the roots of Rhode Island hockey and our state's influence on the national game. We've accomplished much over these past 3 years, including our challenging work of producing a televised enshrinement of the 2020 and 2021 classes last August. You will note that we have included the career bios of those inductees in tonight's program. We've been very hard at work on a number of additional fronts as well. Thanks in great part to the generous contributions of many, we have designed, built, and installed a state-of-the-art, interactive touchscreen wall of fame at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. We embarked on the daunting task of searching historic archives to amass an impressive gallery on our Hall of Fame website of all but 3 of the 150 state, New England, and national championships our high school teams have achieved since 1903. I'm happy to say that many of the players on those teams are with us tonight, including, I might say, my teammates from 1965, hosted by one of the great players on that team, Tim Moran. We also began the chronicling of our state's great hockey families, of which there are many, and published dozens of stories about Rhode Island's many national titles and the notable events and personalities that have influenced the game of hockey here and internationally. Tomorrow, the Rhode Island Reds Heritage Society will hold its 20th and final annual reunion of players and fans in this very hall. The Reds last played here in Rhode Island 50 years ago. Players and fans have passed, but the magical moments remain thanks to the dedicated work of the Society and its founder and former Chase Award winner, Buster Clegg. On Monday, the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame will absorb the mission of the Heritage Society to assure that those memories and more live in perpetuity. It's our intention that the Reds become a centerpiece of a Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame museum that celebrates all of our illustrious hockey history. Tonight, we are formally launching our capital campaign. We welcome your donations and generous bids on some great collectibles in our silent auction, which includes Hall of Fame jerseys signed by every living member of each class, including this evening's. This celebration would not be complete without recognizing the hard-working members of our all-volunteer board, well known to many of you. Mal Goldenberg, Bob Lawrence, Bill O'Connor, Ray Morgan, Mark Diver, Ken Richardson, and Mike Bailey, as well as our diligent selection committee and all-star team of volunteer researchers, writers, designers, digital artists, photographers, IT specialists, and social media experts. Thank you all for a job very, very well done. And of course, where would we be without the generosity of our major partners? The Chase family, the Moran family, the Lamorello family, Providence College, Rhode Island Hockey, the Rhode Island Reds Heritage Society, the NHL Players Association, our many program advertisers, and all of you, of course, for sharing these ceremonies with us. For all the wins we've enjoyed over these past 3 years, we have also endured some heartbreaking losses. At this time, we ask that you join us for a moment of silent prayer as we read the names and finally remember those members of our Rhode Island hockey family who have sadly passed since our last in-person enshrinement event. Bill Belisle, Art Martone, Tom McDonough, Jack McGeough, Jay Octo, Ralph Warburton, Tommy Woodcock. Thank you. Now it is my great pleasure to turn the podium over to a sportscaster known to all of us in New England, and the only person who have called play-by-play for the Bruins, the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Patriots, and the Revolution. A warm Rhode Island welcome, please, for our nearby, well, not so nearby, he just moved to Maine, neighbor, and again, our Hall of Fame Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Dale Arnold.
Thank you guys very much. We haven't been together in one room like this since 2019. I missed you guys. I missed being with you guys. Rhode Island is a small and intimate state. The Rhode Island hockey community is even smaller and more intimate. Everybody in this room knows somebody else in this room who knows somebody else who's part of Rhode Island hockey. Whether it's Bob Belmore, because we worked together for the New Jersey Devils and Lou Lamorello all those years ago, or Tim Sheehy, who I was reminiscing with earlier in the night about our mutual friend Paul Stewart, or, well, you know what I'm saying. Everybody in this room knows somebody involved with the Rhode Island hockey community, much of it, in my case, because my daughter played at Mount St. Charles. Both of my daughters were athletes at Mount St. Charles, but one played hockey. And it's nice when we can have our little family reunion and get together here and reminisce and honor some people who are very worthy. As we boast each year, there could honestly be no better way to launch a Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony than the way only Rhode Island can, because only Rhode Island can boast it as the home of the father of ice hockey in the United States, Malcolm Green Chase. For those of you new to the history, Malcolm was born in 1875 in Central Falls. He was a world-class tennis player who also excelled at ice polo. That was the ice skating game played here in New England before ice hockey. And Bob Belmore was not a goalie for those teams. I'm just saying, yet. In the game played here in New England before ice hockey, in the winter of 1894, Malcolm assembled a team of his fellow collegiate tennis stars who also played ice polo. The All-Americans, as they became known, barnstormed the major Canadian cities with exhibitions of ice polo, while their hosts taught them the skills and rudiments of ice hockey. On their return to the States, their new hockey gear in tow, the players formed ice hockey clubs at their respective schools: Brown, Yale, Harvard, Columbia, and Cornell. On January 19, 1898, Brown defeated Harvard 6-0 in the first intercollegiate hockey league game played in the United States. The rest is Rhode Island and USA hockey history. In his name, each year, the Chase family and the Hall award the Malcolm Green Chase Memorial Trophy for lifetime achievement and contribution by a Rhode Islander to the game of ice hockey. In 2019, that honor went to Larry Rhode, who over the course of 50 years started as a volunteer dad with his hometown's East Providence Youth Hockey Program, became a national ambassador for USA Hockey, helping to set policy for youth hockey throughout our country, while serving as team leader for our nation's men's and women's national teams competing in international and Olympic play. Several days prior to receiving his onstage recognition in 2019, the last time we were together, Larry's lovely wife, Ann, suffered a heart attack. Larry, of course, stayed by her side throughout her ordeal. Happy to tell all you guys, Ann is doing very well today, and both are with us tonight. While Larry has already received his Chase vase, because I thought Chase vase didn't sound quite as good, we invite him now to make his delayed trip to our stage to receive a personalized Hall of Fame jersey and the collective in-person applause he so richly deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Larry Rhode.
When you get my age, you forget, so you have to write down. First, I'd like to congratulate the award winners and the inductees into the Rhode Island Hall of Fame. Special thanks to the Chase family for their contribution and support. A very special thanks to Vince Amini, whose vision and hard work formed this organization. To Mel Goldenberg, who helped put this together this evening, and to my friend Ray and Richard Oliver. I was kind of shocked when I heard I had gotten this award because, frankly, I've gotten more back than I ever gave. I have memories that people only dream about. I was in Chicago when my wife called, and I said to myself, why? I can't even skate. You know, so it seemed strange to me. Frankly, I've had the opportunity to escort a team to the old Soviet Union before Putin. And we played in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kiev, and we couldn't stay in Kiev more than 2 days because of Chernobyl at that time. I also took a team after that to Berlin when the Berlin Wall was coming down. They were 12-year-old boys, 17 of them. We played 10 different countries, And we went into East Berlin, and we came back with a piece of the wall. Every player got a piece of the wall. I worked the Olympic Festival for 10 years. That was before pros could play in the Olympics. And our 80 best players who were amateurs were selected, then put on 4 teams, and over the next 3 weeks in different cities in the United States, they tried out for the Olympic team. During that time, I met the best of the best. Some of them, like you may have heard their name, Brian Leach, Mike Greer, Mike Richter, John LeClaire, Matt Snyder, many of them, and great coaches like Herb Brooks, Ben Smith, Timmy Taylor, Dave Peterson, Jeff Jackson, Jeff Sauer, Jeff Mason, Dean Blaze, and our own Ronnie Wilson, who I saw play high school hockey up. Spent a year and a half at Lake Placid Olympic Training Center with the women's national team. I got home 4 times in a year and a half for approximately anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 days. And we went on a tour, pre-Olympic tour of 40-plus games throughout the United States. I had great players, one from Rhode Island that you may know, and Sarah DeCosta Hayes, Cammie Granado, Katie King, who was from New Hampshire, but she went to Brown, and her father was from Warwick and her mother from Riverside. A.J. Malesko, who you may see now when you see women's hockey on TV. She's the color person. I've been to women, men, juniors, and sled hockey world championships all over the world. Toronto, Torino, Beijing, Klagenfurt, Austria, Buffalo, Czech Republic, what have you. I was at 2 Olympics, 2002 with the women, and I had the opportunity to meet President Bush there. He wanted to meet someone who thought they would win a medal, and I knew we would. And he was there because of 9/11 and to prove to people it was still safe to be there. I also was in Sochi, and I had the opportunity to meet Putin. That's a story that would take too long to tell you right now. I felt hockey was a family sport, and I felt every player needed an equal opportunity to try out. 95% of the players never make a living at the game, but they play the game from the time they're 4 years old till they're in their 70s and 80s because they love the sport. And who makes this possible? Volunteers. To me, the most important person in hockey is the volunteer. It's the person that teaches you how to skate. It's the person who's a volunteer coach. It's the team mom. It's the team manager. It's the guy or girl who runs the clock. It's the volunteer who makes this sport great. I accept this award, but not only for me, but for all of the volunteers out there in the community. I learn well from people like Jack Kennedy in East Providence Hockey, Tom Army in East Providence Hockey, and my friend Bob O'Connor, who is from Rhode Island, played at PC with Lou Lamoriello on the same line, and married a girl from Minnesota and went there and lived there, but he never left his roots behind. I saw what these people did and how they volunteered, and I learned from them. And you, as a volunteer now, are teaching the next generation to get this sport going. So I accept the award, like I say, and not only for me, but for all the volunteers in hockey. And I thank you for allowing me to be part of your hockey family. Thank you.
One more time for Larry, Ann Reed, and the Chase family. Before we present our 2022 Chase Award, we have a special video salute for this year's roster of honorees from someone we all know, and a couple of us used to work for. The architect of 3 Stanley Cup championship teams and a charter inductee of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame, the president of hockey operations for the NHL's New York Islanders, Mr. Lou Lamoriello.
Congratulations to this exceptional class into the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. What a class. I've had the honor and the pleasure to know each and every one of you on a personal basis as well as professional, and I just can't say enough about that relationship that I was privileged to have. In particular, you, Bob Belmore. We went to high school together, went to college together, coached together, and have remained the closest of friends throughout these many, many years. Congratulations to the Bennett family, to the Goodrow family, to the Warburton family, and to the Mellor family. And a special congratulations to Don Mellor, the recipient of this special award. What a fantastic night for hockey in Rhode Island and these great people.
Thank you, Lou. And now for the much anticipated presentation of the 2022 Chase Award. It is very safe to say that this year's recipient has played the game and seen more hockey in his lifetime than anyone else in the room tonight. Between the 1950s and the 1980s, the storied CLCF youth hockey program he co-founded and fostered in Cranston developed more Hall of Fame players than any other in Rhode Island history.
Don Mellor. Don Mellor was born in Cranston, Rhode Island on February 22, 1921, where he has lived his entire life. He began skating at age 6 and recalls first playing hockey with a rubber heel, the closest thing the neighborhood kids had to a hockey puck. He would hone his skills on the city's frozen ponds. As a schoolboy, the Great Depression was at hand, and Don started a paper route. And while he earned needed money, the hours left no time for high school hockey until his senior year. After graduation, Don took a full-time foundry job while playing on the amateur hockey circuit, which included a game at the Boston Garden. His outstanding play caught the eye of the Boston Olympics, farm team of the Boston Bruins, and he was invited to play for them. His career with the Olympics lasted 2 seasons. Then World War II arrived. Don enlisted in the Navy and was deployed on a battleship, seeing action in the Pacific Theater. When he was discharged, he returned to his 2 loves, his wife-to-be Helen and hockey, playing defense for several high-level amateur teams, including the Rhode Island Scarlets. Don was now married with a child and working for New England Telephone. Playing in a game in Boston, he suffered a skate wound that prevented him from climbing poles. "Are you going to play hockey or work?" his boss asked. He chose family. He would spend 35 years with New England Telephone while embarking on the next and most influential chapter of his hockey journey, organizing, coaching, and inspiring several generations of Rhode Island hockey players, including his sons, one of whom, Tom, made it to the NHL. One of the true pioneers of Rhode Island youth hockey, his initiatives included co-founding the storied CLCF hockey program in his hometown in 1955. He found ice time everywhere, on ponds, pools, and the precious few slots at area rinks. He even lobbied fire departments to flood empty lots. And yes, he found out-of-state tournaments wherever there was an opportunity for players to grow against better competition. For this and so much more he has meant to this great game, we honor Don Miller with the Malcolm Green Chase Trophy for lifetime contributions to Rhode Island hockey.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our 2022 Malcolm Green Chase Award recipient, Don Miller.
You can all go home now. I had a million things to say, and I'm going to start off by telling a baseball story. I had heroes. I think you should all have a hero, and a lot of my heroes are baseball players. I'm going to tell you about something that happened right in this hall. We had, in my neighborhood, a National League baseball player whose fame included an unassisted triple play. Now, baseball players can figure it out. I've had it all figured out for years because we would talk to Mr. Coney. It wasn't Jim Coney, it was Mr. Coney. And he would play catch with it, and you could tell the difference when a major leaguer threw a ball at you, and you had to catch it. Well, Mr. Cooney also had to not be in the payroll that the boys are today. His night job was right in this hall, supervising dances that were held here. And I must have gotten a couple of Annie Oakleys to the hockey people, I know what that is, and came here to see Tommy Dorsey. Now, don't ask me who he played for. He was an orchestra leader. But I've had so many thrills of playing baseball, but I could never hit a curveball. And the years that I've missed hitting a curveball, at my age, I'm 100 years old and should be 102, but I was sick a year. And but what a great 100 years it was. And anyway, I didn't hit the curveball, but I had a thrill that maybe a lot of people in this hall who played baseball have never swung at one. So I did swing at one. I didn't hit it, but a thrill to me, as a young boy, I did take a swing at one, and I think everyone should have that opportunity. But after that, I married a woman, a World War II veteran like myself. After only a few dates, she is now with the rest of the heroes in Exeter, and I think a lot of people should take a ride through there and see where the real heroes are. She used to talk Coast Guard with me, and I'd talk Navy with her, and she said, yeah, but you did something. I was on a destroyer, actually, for 2 years, and I saw a lot. Helen said, I only had a job at the Navy Yard in Boston, and I had to correct her that anyone that came in uniform, tell someone, I'm here, where do you want me to go? You never know what job you're going to get. You don't know where you're going to go, but you've made it very apparent that you joined a service, and I think that's a great, as I say, I'd join the Navy tomorrow, but I'd have trouble trying to get in with a cane. So, but I've had so many thrills. I don't know how long they gave me to talk, but I want to tell you and stories about what's happened over the years. We had a little boy. We had a house in Maine, and there was a boy there. He's about 8, 10 years old, and that being a rental next to our house, the father and the family wanted this family to enjoy the summer in Maine on a lake, and I don't want my son to hang around with you and drink Coca-Cola and watch ball games, and actually I let him do both, and I learned a lot from him because I think I taught him how to read the sports page, what the different initials are, and what the game was about. And that boy went on. He is now the pitching coach for the Boston Red Sox. His name is David Bush. He's gone through the league as a player, and I'm sure that someday he'll be a manager, but that all depends how the pitching staff does under David Bush. But I think he understands, as any professional athlete understands, when you get into that profession, be prepared to move, and I guess just about everyone in that position has moved. And I can't say enough about Lou Lamoriello. His name was mentioned, that he took my friend and I and gave us a night on New Jersey when they were playing. I forget who they were playing, but we were treated first class by a guy who has made it at every level. I remember his number. He was number 14. And I'll bet you Bobby Belmore has stopped plenty of shots that the coach fired at him for practice. He was quite a guy. So I have so many other stories of, I kind of wanted to look at not coaching, but teaching. And I had as the COCF was progressing, we had a meeting with the manager and owner of the Rhode Island Reds, and he taught us that you're not going to develop hockey players, but I want you to develop fans. So I got aside with my coach, and I said, we should be teaching kids more about getting interested in sports, not trying to develop them by getting the game complicated. And I have to remember, I'd like to tell you one little story about a fellow named Dick McLaughlin, and his son Richard is here today, and he was a baseball coach with little kids with myself, and one little kid said, Mr. McLaughlin, if the ball's hit, what do I do? He said, just see one of those bases, just go stand on it. Maybe something will happen there. But what could be better than, and what Bill Russell says, we've taken a kid's game and made it complicated, and that's just about it. So I think we learned a lot by trying to teach and not develop players, because it's pretty tough to make it where these guys made it. Some will make it, but I think the main thing is teach them the game, and then maybe someday they'll become fans. And any fan today will tell you what a blessing it is that I knew a little bit about the game, just enough to holler at a player or the umpire. It's all part of the game, and it's so much joy that you can get by just being a part of the game, and you'll help Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry is the name I was trying to think of, and I think Lou knows him, and Bobby Elbow, I'm sure they know him. But I could go on for a long time. If I ever got into the military, I could talk for days on the military. I learned so much in the military. I learned to do what you're told. You can't very well question a decision when you're out and no one else is around you. You have to do what you're told. And I think I learned that, and I learned to respect my leaders. And that's when you really know that they know what they're doing. There were 12 officers on my ship that were well trained. I was just a fire controlman that was just another part of the crew. But when I saw some of the decisions that our leaders had to make, I just respect them so much. In the same way with firemen, policemen, the guy that picks up the rubbish, the garbage guy. So many things I have to tip the hat to that we take for granted so many times. And I'll tell you one story about my favorite. And I started this by asking someone in the audience to press that button that says 1 minute. That's well known in the hockey people. When there's 1 minute, I'll just sign off. But I'd like to tell you one of my favorites and why. was Lou Gehrig. I'm not a hockey fan, but he retired after setting a record for consecutive games. And what I liked about him, he chose to retire when the Yankees were on the road, where the average player would say, let's have the Lou Gehrig day. And he had it. He said, I'm going to quit. I'm going to retire now. And I admired that thought so much. And there's so many things that, as I'll repeat again, I am 100 years old. Don't forget that, you know. Well, anyway, and I want to thank the Chase family and all they've done, and I'm quite amazed of what I learned tonight from the other speaker. And I want to thank the Reds Heritage Society. They were our team. The Rhode Island Reds were our team. And I also wanted to let the kids, getting back to not teaching them hockey, go to a game, find fault with what the pros are doing. You're looking at the best. Find out how they tape their stick. Find out what they do in between periods. Find out how they warm up. Are they aggressive? Do they look like players? Have a favorite. And I think anyone that followed a team has to have a favorite. If you ask them the reason, they probably wouldn't know, but they know. So I just want to end this by saying thanks for coming. And to the hockey fans, I hope when you get outside, make believe you're at a hockey game now, and I hope your car starts when you get out there. And if it doesn't start, there was at 1111 North Main Street a trolley car. So thank you very much for coming. It's been my night. Thank you.
How the hell do I follow that? I love that guy. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to enjoy our dinners, this is also looking to the looking to the future part of our evening. While your Hall of Fame has already accomplished a great deal, there's more to be done. As Vin mentioned in his opening remarks, this evening also marks the formal launch of the Hall's capital campaign to raise funds for a brick-and-mortar museum to showcase Rhode Island's pioneering and illustrious hockey history. In addition to our silent auction, for which bids will close at the end of dinner, you'll notice a pen and a credit card form at your place setting. For a donation of $50 or more, cash, check, or filled-out credit card form, we have stylish one-size-fits-all toques with Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame proudly knitted into them to say thank you for your much-appreciated donations. Our lady volunteers will be collecting your donations in exchange for your thank you gifts towards the end of your dinner break. And please don't forget to make your final auction bids before our program resumes. Thank you in advance for your generosity. Please enjoy your dinner. We will be back soon. Thank you.